there, listeners. It's your annoyingly optimistic host here, bringing you another season of the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Welcome to Season 2, Voicemails to Tim. Now, let's meet Tim. He's been running his own small business for almost 3 years now, and let's just say he's hit a bit of a rough patch. You know how it is. Sometimes you get so stuck, you make yourself busy and just avoid finding the real problems. Well, that's Tim. So as a good friend, I decided to leave him a daily voicemail, if I can't get hold of him, filled with nuggets of inspiration, insight and wisdom, and downright brilliant ideas to help get him unstuck. Every day, in just under 10 minutes, I'll share some tips, tricks, and a healthy dose of optimism to get Tim, and maybe even you, back on track. Because let's face it, we're all a little tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So here we go. Oh wait, never mind. Tim's being busy. Here's the voicemail I left him today.
Hi Tim, missed you again. I wanted to, something popped up from that email that you sent. And you mentioned rabbit holes. Now, rabbit holes and tangents are something that I know we've kind of touched upon, but I wanted to just kind of just focus on that a little bit, because sometimes they can get mixed up and they can get a bad rap. Rabbit holes are often those things we describe when we click on something in YouTube or a link, and then it takes us to something else, and 47 minutes is gone and you're 16 tabs later and you have no idea how you got to this particular website. That's that kind of rabbit hole. But they can also be, it's a little kind of pathway. It's something that we are bouncing from stuff. Now, if you're bouncing through kind of social media and through cat videos and stuff like that, then those rabbit holes are generally just kind of dopamine driven distractions. But sometimes those rabbit holes can be following a path or a train of thought and putting those bits together. And that's where it kind of veers over into more kind of tangents. And I know when we do manage to catch up and chat, we will often be focusing on something, and then all of a sudden we're kind of skewing off to this way. And what I've learnt, I wouldn't say the hard way, but it's more a recognition, I guess, is that typically tangents, when they're business related, when you are working through something, and providing it's not cats or someone falling over or whatever it is you find funny on social media, providing it remains kind of business related, 99.9% of those time, those tangents are really useful, effective, and they're things that, without breaking yourself from going down the tangent, you want to kind of recognize the fact that this is something that is potentially important. Now, the reason for that, and it's why tangents get a bit of a bad rap, is there's a lot going on. As we said, when you run your own business, you're self-employed, you're dealing with all the hassles, the hardships, and everything that comes with that. You're tired. You're in need of help and you're muddling along, as we say. Your brain is this amazing thing, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot happening while you're asleep. There's a lot happening, and you're processing all the time, and your brain is trying to problem solve. Yeah, it's not very good at remembering things at the right time, but it is trying to come up with problems and solutions. And often what we get stuck, and this is the big recurring thing, and this is why I think tangents are so vital to listen to, is we can not only lose sight of what we're trying to achieve, but we can actually get so focused on a singular thing that we actually lose sight of the fact that our aims and our objectives and the things that we really, really want have changed, but we haven't quite lodged them. And that's where the tangent comes in, because it's normally the passion and excitement and something that genuinely interests us on a subconscious level or a conscious level, but we're pushing it away, that keeps bubbling to the surface. It keeps trying to tell us something. It keeps trying to come back and kind of go, don't forget about me. And then we push it down because we're trying to do accounts and we don't want to think about that creative thing. And we have to be very careful. Yes, there are times when tangents, distractions, rabbit holes and things like that are just that. And they're things that take us off course. But if we listen to the tangents, and even if we just kind of acknowledge them, well, what is it, that thing that I'm trying to think about? Scribble it down and make a time to come back to that. Go through a tangents diary or something like that. Because a case in point, I was speaking to someone recently and we are pivoting on their business in what can only be described as a complete 90 degrees. It isn't linked in with what they've been doing for the last 10 years, and they've been doing exceptionally well. It is a completely different direction. And if you just looked at what they're doing at the moment and what they want to be doing, you'd kind of go, where has that come from? It's come out of left field. It's such a tangent. But having gone through the process over the last 2 years, the seeds of this idea, not in the way that it is now, were there a couple of years ago. And if we were to track back, and obviously, when I'm doing my coaching calls, I'll typically record them and we get a transcript from them and things like that. If you actually look back at some of these, you can see that where this was bubbling up in a variety of different areas. And basically, it's moved from the business they are doing into something that's more about kind of well-being and nutrition and things like that. But it's always been there. That seed's always been there. Now, you could just keep pushing that away, keep blocking that, going, well, that's not what I'm doing. But that will keep coming back. And as it becomes a more important part of your life, if it's something else that you're passionate about other than the main thing that you do, the more you ignore it, the more it will cause problems on the other side. So rabbit holes, dopamine, social media, cat videos, generally avoid them. Business rabbit holes, where you're following a train of thought, an author, a particular practice or something, then follow that and see where it takes you. Give yourself a time limit is often a good way of doing it so you don't get too lost along the way. But tangents, when we're talking about, and again, we went off on one just the other day, which I think is something we will return back to, because I think you might not realise, but I think there's a key thing in there. But tangents, when you're working on the business and doing it, and then just you keep being pulled in a different direction. One way of doing it that I do with one client is write down those tangents. Don't let them take you off, but write them down. So give them a little bit of space to write down what they are. And then get yourself back on, go for a walk, do something, kind of get yourself back on track. If you then notice that it's the same tangent, the same ideas that keeps coming back, keep pulling it away. If that one comes back 2 or 3 times in quick succession, stop pushing it away, and deal with it. Focus on it. Spend some time going, well, why is this coming in the mind? Because often the tangent is pulling you in seemingly a different direction. But if you stop and give it some time and look at where you are, the tangent is often pulling you in a slightly different direction, or at least pushing you in a way to take your current business and add something to that. So they can be incredibly powerful for something brand new, but also powerful for something that can just take you maybe out of your comfort zone and in a slight direction which can enhance what you're doing. So I just wanted to hope ideally catch up with you on that, but that hasn't happened again. So just something to kind of think about, that kind of tangents and rabbit holes. So catch up with you soon, Jim. Cheers for now. Bye.
And that's it for today's episode of Voicemails to Tim on the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Now remember, Tim might be busy, but we're all in this together. Whether you're tired, in need of help, or just muddling through, Tim is here for you because, well, Tim is you. Yes, you heard that right. Tim isn't just my friend, he's a reflection of all of us who are struggling to make it work. TIM stands for tired, in need of help, and muddling through. So if you're feeling like a Tim, you're not alone. For all those ambitious listeners, if you've got a burning business question, a quirky thought, or just want to see if you can leave an even weirder voicemail, head over to the website voicemailstotim.com, submit your question, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hear your idea in a future Voicemail to Tim. So until then, stay annoyingly optimistic, keep pushing forward, and remember, if life gives you lemons, leave a voicemail about it.